Well, we trying it again. We trying it again. Anytime something good want to get out, a lot of times something may come against it. But I don't care what people say, how popular they may be, how many followers they may have, how good they make it look. Cause a lot of them people, we don't know what's going on behind their doors. But believe me when I say, or don't believe me, just believe it for truth's sake, that it's not as easy. It's not as easy as the illusion may make it look. Self-work take work. Improvement requires persistence, commitment, and consistent effort. Y'all, if you heard me say it before, you may hear me saying it a lot more. Self-improvement requires persistence, commitment, and consistent effort. Why do I point that out? Because how many of us believe any of the things that we do before we was taught to believe it? It may sound like a trick question. It's not. Just give yourself some time. How many of us believed any of the things that we now do before we was taught to believe it? Then we was pushed out into the world and told to use your mind. Now, ain't that some shit? After all we've been programmed, to, hearing, seeing, experiencing, we get pushed out in the world. They say, use your own mind. I don't think it's anything more harsh that has been dealt to the human being, such as what I have just described. But that's exactly what has been going on since it's been going on. So I salute all of you who've been taking the time to sit with your higher self. It's always a lot going on out there. That's why it's a scripture that says, be in the world and not of it. Being in the world is being within oneself, in tune, in touch, plugged in. Everything has been preparation for what's ahead. And a lot of what we are experiencing, or a lot of what we are experiencing, whether we are experiencing things personal or through what we see via media, has a lot to do with what we're being prepared for. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. Like I said, we all got our different paths. We all got our different challenges. We all got our different contrasts to bring into balance and equilibrium. Encouragement, strength, motivation, inspiration, forgiveness, patience, equilibrium, discernment, non-critical judgment, just to name a few, are going to be some tools that we're going to need. I'm pointing these things out because I was asked once again, and now I find it more humorous than I did. It used to be irritating, but now I find it more humorous. And the only reason that it used to be irritating because a lot of things that I'm asked because of how I vibrate and how I operate, and the place that I see things from, through the trickle down, from the highest perception of view that I can hold to the lowest that I can hold. Meaning I sometimes have to become the things that I no longer am to relate to the point of view of where it may be coming from. And then I have to shift back up into the highest place, the highest space that I could hold, and find a way to speak to it, if I'm gonna speak to it, or if I'm gonna deal with it at all. Walk with me. What do I do to stay vibrational? I went those places to come to this place. What do I do to stay high vibrational? That's the question that I find myself being asked more often, ever now, than before. What do I do to stay high vibrational? Well, first we gotta get rid of the soul suckers. And in order to get rid of the soul suckers, you gotta recognize if there's a soul sucker in you. See, it's the beginning of starting to be high vibrational is being brutally self-honest. See, even though I knew it wasn't a trick question, it felt like one, because there's no single answer to that question. What do you do? Let me ask you, what do you do to stay high vibrational? Because any low vibrational being can't even answer that question. They looking to a book, or looking for somebody, or looking for a validation, or looking for applause. What do you do to stay high vibration? Don't that if you working on yourself daily, day in and day out, out of the 24 hours in a day that we have to use, then that probably sounds like a trick question to you too. But it sure felt like one to me. It's no one answer. It's not one formula. It's not one application. It's not one book. It's not one lesson. It's not just a meditation session. It's not just trying energy work. It's just not researching light language. It's just not being interested in Reiki. It's just not one of anything. What do you do to stay high vibration? See, it's an accumulation of many things, many experiences, many modalities. Somebody mentioned it's an accumulation of many things. We are the accumulation of many things. Before we became a human form, we was a clock. Stay with me to walk with me. Before we was a human form, before I was arm, leg, arm, head, God in the flesh, I was a clock. Before I was a clock, I was a thought form. And if I wasn't in the thought form of the participants that I passed through, I was a thought form in and of myself. Stay with me to walk with me, because I don't want to lose nobody. So were you. We are the accumulation of many lifetimes. And who knows in how many different forms. What's my point? My point is, this time, this life stream, some of us chose, well, if we came back and when we come back, that this would be the time that we remember. We remember it all. If that's you, I want to salute you. Glad you made it. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you have learned a little bit about the value of your purpose since you have been here, and continue to choose from a place of value, from a space of value, and not a place of victim. We have no more time for victim mentalities. We all came here with a job to do that's bigger than the job that we may work at. This, if you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. We all came here with a job way bigger to do than the jobs that we may find ourselves being employed by. How about I say it like that? So, as we upgrade, as we level up, and you gotta be brave enough to do it, cause ascending take courage. Being better than you never been take courage. Don't let nobody trick you and make you think that the spiritual path is for soft people, or people on the spiritual path is soft. Be not deceived. Be not deceived, man. I ain't gonna go into my other mentality. I'm gonna stay in this one where I'm at, but be not deceived, man. We never know where people don't come from, what people don't been through to be walking in a right standing way, to be walking in righteousness, to be trying to live in good. We don't know what people don't came from. We don't know what people don't been through. we don't know who people don't been through to get to their goodness. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. But I'm saying things without saying things, just to keep it in the highest place. So what do you do to stay high vibrational? Because that's exactly what you're gonna have to do. You hear me? More people dying than crying because they're not healing. But what does that say to you? What does that say about you? Why is it that more people dying than crying? Just some things I think about. See, and because of the way I think and the way I see and the way I may say what I see, the world judge me incorrect too, just like some of y'all. I'm only glad that I'm just in it and not of it. Better over bitter. Forgiving is living. And nothing is in vain. Those are the words that I want to leave y'all with. Love, joy, peace, bliss, stability. In your transformation. Students in abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Thank you for joining me. Whenever you find time to join me, thank you for the likes, thank you for the unlikes, thank you for the shares. I appreciate those who do share the video. Thank you for the comments. I appreciate those who make comments. If it ain't nothing but peace, I will, or I needed to hear that. Stay pure. It's the difference. Know the difference between constructive criticism or constructive feedback and negative criticism. Not all criticism is personal or meant to harm you. All criticism speaks to how we critique ourselves more than the criticism or the critique that we may be getting. So, if we're mindful of our reactions, we'll be mindful of our response. And whenever you're overwhelmed, take a woosah moment or a sawu moment. It's all the same. Peace, family. I love y'all. My name is Sawu.